get to playoffs, it would be a very difficult run for them. But if they can take wins off teams like Mad, off teams like Excel, they can really upset the apple cart when it comes to that 6th and 7th spot, which are of course all important for playoffs. We are on into the draft. Schalke on the blue, Mad Lions on the red. LeBlanc taken away from Humanoid. Gangplank taken away from Orome. Orn and Syndra removed from the pool, and then the Senna is the final lock away by Schalke.
So Schalke showcasing a couple things. Number one, they want to remove all of the comfort champions for Mad. On top of that, they don't want to prioritize the Senna. Showcasing that not something that they're super comfortable on, not something that they want to really put a lot of focus on, and also it does allow them to grab themselves the APHELIOS, a very strong AD carry in the meta, but then they lose the ability to play a big comfort pick for Abbedagge, which is of course the Victor, the actual second Victor ban of the day. Now Mad Lions have a lot of control or freedom to pick what they want, and I was going to talk about the Misfortune, which they immediately lock in. The KARTHUS priority surprises me a little bit.
Especially with Lee Sin still available for Shadow.
But, we think about what can Lurox play that is good into KARTHUS? And also remember what we were saying about how Mad are the comeback kids. KARTHUS is a great way to come back later on into the game. So it puts a bit of pressure onto Schalke to actually play a little bit more aggressively in the early game to try and utilize any advantages that you can gain in the mid game to snowball, because the longer the game goes on, the harder it becomes to play against the KARTHUS. But we'll see how the rest of the composition shakes up as Schalke grab themselves the GRAGAS. Also great scaling jungler, very good engage setup, can offer early game presence, and they're actually just going to stick to comfort. Odoamne, I think I can be pretty confident saying that his most played this split has been the AATROX. The dude has played it whenever he has the opportunity to, and while I don't think it's the strongest top laner in the current meta, in the hands of Odo, he's only found success.
It's the only champion he has won on this split. Two of his wins, or the 2 wins that Schalke have on the AATROX, has lost on it 4 times, but we'll ignore those for the point of statistics. We do want to bring out the fact that Lurox has only played GRAGAS once already this split as well. That was in the G2 game, of course, which Schalke won. He had a very good performance on it, ending with a
So right now you're telling me that Schalke's drafting themselves a winning draft right now,
Okay,
Medic.
I am also because Innaxe has played 2 games on APHELIOS and won 1 of them.
Wow.
So at the moment, they have the champions they have won on so far. Do you want me to see what other picks I can get?
That they currently have.
Okay, mid lane's going to be Cassiopeia, because that's the only thing Abbedagge's won that hasn't been banned out. And support is going to be either Rakan or BRAUM.
Okay, well, BRAUM would be a good matchup with or pair rather, with the APHELIOS, and with Thresh already banned away, it's definitely leading towards that priority. Now the Rakan will be taken off the board.
By Schalke.
Yeah, so Schalke already limiting their own options. But for Mad, I'm thinking about what their priority must be. If they're the ones banning away the Thresh, it does suggest that they might be going for something a little bit more aggressive, like the NAUTILUS in the bot lane, to try and threaten the APHELIOS. I think they should consider banning away the BRAUM, really limit that jungle, that support pool rather. But you've also got to think about the possibility of something like a Taric. I think Taric is a great pick into the KARTHUS. We did actually see Mad play it themselves into the KARTHUS. Saw some missed timings from the ultimate from Kaiser.
You only have a half-a-second window to put your ultimate down as Taric in that situation, but we will see as it has been taken away. Schalke with their final ban have a few options. Good luck to isolate that mid lane pool of Humanoid a little bit more. Maybe get rid of the Zoe, get rid of the Ryze. Those are your 2 real Humanoid-esque champions.
Let's have a look, see what are they going to prioritize. Ooh, the Tristana suggests that they're thinking about a Zoe in the mid lane. Lucian, of course, can act as a strong answer to it, would also give Humanoid a strong mid lane champion, but given that you are prioritizing the KARTHUS, suggests a little bit more, not about ganking, more about, well, farming. That's pretty much all the KARTHUS wants to do, so we're not going to see the strongest mid-jungle duo.
I like the BRAUM lock by Mad Lions. You also get rid of the fact that you can unbreakable the bullet time, right? So you're removing a counter option from Schalke.
So let's have a look here. Schalke's options. They could go for Zoe if they wanted to, if they wanted a safe blind pick. It's something that Europeans have played a lot. You also have the Cassio, as you mentioned earlier. Ryze is also up, but with the availability of a Cassio, it's probably not the strongest option. For support, they're going to prioritize the NAUTILUS, which still just pretty well-rounded support. I think that given the number of support bans, your options are a little bit limited on the side of Schalke.
Yeah, Schalke's Dreams has only played 4 supports. 3 of them have either been banned or removed, and NAUTILUS was the 4th. So he's going to lock that in.
So
Azir.
All right, I'm pretty confident that we'll see a Zoe pick now from Mad Lions. Oh, well, I was wrong. All right, fair enough.
You can be confident in things that are incorrect.
Yeah, that's
the world has taught us anything.
That's very fair. So I think Corki's also fine. Probably one of the least interesting mid lane matchups that exist in pro play, Corki versus Azir. We've seen it multiple times throughout all esports history, all League of Legends history,
yeah.
and it's pretty much the same. Both of them like to not do anything. They like to farm, they like to scale. So we're not going to talk about mid lane this game.
Okay.
We're going to be talking a lot about, I mean, so remember when I said I don't expect a huge amount of action early game? Based on the drafts, still don't really expect that.
I don't either.
There aren't really that many lanes that either side can play through successfully, which then naturally gives an advantage to Mad Lions because they have themselves the Karthus, which means that if the lanes are just kind of happily sitting back, nothing is happening, you know, the Karthus is just free farming, maybe he gets the opportunity to counter jungle a little bit, then Mad is feeling pretty comfortable. So I think this Karthus is going to be one of the big deciding factors in the outcome of this game. And of course, Mad have a couple more options to be able to play side lanes because they are running the Corki, who I think is much more effective in a side lane than Azir is, which means that they'll also have 1-3-1 options later. And with the Karthus ultimate, it makes playing into the side lane that much easier as well. So I think that Mad's composition overall just have a lot more options, but I wouldn't say that they are clear-cut favorites, because of course Schalke also have options of their own. Their scaling is pretty good, they have pretty good pick potential, their team fighting is solid with the AZIR. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this game. A lot on the line, especially for both teams. Mad in that ever so tight race towards the top of the standings.
I think this is a vital game for Mad to win if they're looking at their playoff contention, because up next, tomorrow they have Rogue, next week they have SK Misfits, and then in the final week they play up against Fnatic and Origin. So you can say 2 of those games are probable wins, this one and then the SK game, and every other matchup is either against someone right next to them in the standings or just above them in the standings. It's a very hard road for Mad if they want to make playoffs, but right now they are sitting pretty in that 6th spot. We'll want to equalize Rogue at the 8-5 record if they win today, and Schalke very much the team to play spoiler.
Okay, so we can see that the Azir is running the Electrocute.
I thought we weren't talking about mid. What happened?
No, we're not going to talk about mid, but I do want to talk about runes, because runes is always interesting. Because Yamato is one of my favorite people to talk to about this, because he feels so passionately about the rune that you use depending on the matchup. Now, I'm not an Azir main, nor do I know the perfect rune for each choice. I just know the differences, right? Okay. So Electrocute obviously gives you a little bit more burst, all-in power. It helps especially with gank setups if you're looking for that kind of setup. And in certain matchups, just that burst is way more valuable if you can't go for consistent trades. So against the likes of a Corki, usually it's easier to go for those kind of short burst trades because it's just overall more beneficial for you. We do see a bit of an invade from Mad towards the blue side, but it looks like they're actually going to be put off that. Ooh, I like the response from Lurox. He's actually gone straight to the Raptors. He's going to try and steal those away. The Karthus is going to go towards the red buff as well. So one of the things about Karthus is that he's pretty blue buff reliant. So by starting on red, it's not going to hurt his jungle clear. It's just it leaves him exposed a little bit, because now there is the risk that his blue buff can be invaded on. You can see there is a bit of a ward sitting on top of the blue buff camp, so that Karthus does have that protection available to us. The Observer's also highlighting that for us. And you'll also notice that in the bot lane, Innaxe and Dreams actually have the push, because they were able to get to the lane first. They're in control of the wave. So this is something that Shadow has to be careful of, because if you have priority bot, and if we pan over to mid lane, you'll see that Abbedagge also have that wave pushed, and here we see the value of the Electrocute. When you go for those short trades, you can actually do a lot of early burst damage. There is the risk of a steal, but of course Lurox, because of the early path that he had to take, he went for Raptors, actually went towards his top side, so Shadow's blue is going to be safe. But I think it's valuable highlighting some of the potential risks that you could have run into, and if Karthus had lost his blue, that would have been disaster in the early game.
Really costs you a lot on the Karthus when you want to be spamming out those lay wastes. Of course, very good at taking single target camps is the Karthus, because of the extra damage you get from the Q.
I think he's just good at taking all camps.
Yeah, I mean, he is, he definitely is.
But you're right. Of course, the bonus damage that you do get from the Q on single target is very valuable. One of the reasons why it makes his clears so fast, but he also has AoE with his E, which he can toggle on and off, which is extremely effective against Krugs as well. So I just think that he's one of the best power farmers in the game. I think the only other jungler that has a faster clear than him is Dr. Mundo. But yeah, it's
a commonly seen jungler there, Vedius.
Yeah, I tried jungling him once, wasn't fun. Killed myself in the jungle a bunch of times. So what Schalke are now doing is gaining control over the bot side of the map because that's where they have prio. You will notice that in the top lane, Odoamne was being pushed back by Orome. Now the wave is bouncing back towards him, and Odoamne just has to be very careful. Normally in this situation, you actually want your jungler to be pathing top, because with the wave getting ever so close to the tower, there's always a risk of a gank. And so Odoamne, he could be in some danger right now, because this is not the situation he wants to be in, but he has good sense to ward, but not to the face of a Karthus.
Will be forced away, can just use the Umbral Dash to get across that wall, or around that wall, and gets himself to safety. You can see the damage that Shadow can do. Pretty darn effective. He'll get himself a Scuttle Crab that was one secured for Lurox on the bottom side. Lurox didn't decide to go for the level 3 back with the Predators. Instead has actually done a full clear of his jungle, including that bottom side Scuttle Crab.
Bear in mind, he still has an advantage over the Karthus because he stole away the Karthus' Raptors, which kept Shadow down a little level, but he's now caught up to that now at level 4. And so what you're seeing on top lane right now is why I hate playing top lane.
Yep.
So I tried playing top lane for a little while because the champions are so fun. Mordekaiser, Sett,
Dr.
Quinn.
Mundo.
Yeah, Mundo. Like, these champions are super fun in top lane, honestly. But you're actually, like, really reliant on where your jungler is relative to where the enemy jungler is. And it's actually very easy in a long lane like this to have the wave frozen. And it's harder in bot lane because there are 2 people. There's that additional source of wave clear. But in top lane, if you overstep, if your wave gets frozen in an awkward spot, then it can be really challenging for you to break that without your jungler. And you could see that in that situation, Odoamne, he's now at a CS deficit because he was zoned away from the farm. And that's because he just couldn't approach the wave because there was no jungler in the vicinity and his jungler was on the bot side of the map. And that's not to say it was Lurox's fault. Due to the early pathing, he ended up in this situation. But because of the wave state, Odoamne ended up losing some of that farm. And that's why I personally hate playing top lane. And I have so much respect for pro top laners because you're so reliant on your jungler and the positioning of the enemy jungler as well.
You should just play top lane in my games because the enemy jungler is always in bottom lane.
Right.
In my games, so but yeah, with the perfect duo there, Vedius. Orome's going to push the wave in, has hit level 6. He'll back, get off a cheetah recall, as we call it. Means he doesn't have to teleport back into the lane, but nor did Odoamne, so neither teleport's going to be burnt there on the top side.
So that's because the wave was bouncing towards Odoamne. Now, Odoamne didn't get the opportunity to set up a freeze because the wave was so big and he didn't have a wave, so he's just going to catch that. But now what he's doing is he's hard shoving the wave in, which, because you're on Aatrox, you can do very quickly, and this may force Orome to either TP or at the very least lose some farm. So I like the response here from Odoamne, because now, again, he'll get the wave pushing back towards him. And like, top lane is all about wave management, knowing when and where to use your TP. And I had a great conversation with Odoamne last week in his matchup against Bwipo, and he talked to me about some of the mind games that go on where sometimes using a TP early can force your opposition to TP, knowing when to cheetah recall. Like, there's so much wave management involved in top lane. It's honestly super fascinating. And that's why it was great that we got Bwipo on the desk and he gave us so much insight in the top lane. It's like a very complicated lane that often gets ignored because nothing happens there. But it is, honestly, it's a very fascinating lane.
It definitely is. While we were chatting, Schalke did manage to secure the first dragon of the game, the Infernal, for them down towards that bottom side. Lurox is looking for a gank down here as well, but there's a ward that will spot him out. Has got a level advantage over Shadow, who's just been happily farming up on the Karthus. Should be up towards that level 6 pretty soon. And
yeah, he's very close. Either after Raptors or certainly after Red, he should be able to hit that level 6 mark, and that's where things for a Karthus always get spicy. Because, of course, you can gank from anywhere on the map, so you can both farm and gank at the same time.
Are we expecting to see Mad try and use that level 6? Because you've also got Humanoid who can get a package relatively soon. Are we expecting to see them try and set up a play?
So, here's the problem that Mad have. Their comp, or at least, actually, let's go back to the draft. In draft, they intentionally took the BRAUM away because they wanted to deny that bot lane away from Innaxe, with the APHELIOS, and it, ooh, hang on, there's a bit of an invade going on. We might have to stop for a second.
Shadow low on mana, gets it.
but top lane does have priority, so Shadow has a way out, and he is safe. We need to see Lurox actually going for the enemy blue buff right now. That's the correct play, because you can't obviously contest this, but you can trade, because you have prio on the bot side of the map, and you have river control.
It's not going to do it.
He's not going to do it, and like, he should be aware that his top side is just being stolen away right now, and Schalke's response is to try and collapse, but good vision control from Mad means that they're going to get away with this, and now they're going to lose their opportunity to steal the enemy blue buff away. So early opportunity lost there from Lurox, where he should have tried to trade rather than answer, and now he's going to end up paying for it, because the KARTHUS will end up getting double blue buff.
That control ward that was just cleared out by Lurox was the savior of Shadow. Wasn't spotted the first time Abbedagge came around, and then Shadow was able to steal away the Gromp, steal away the blue, and get out, because he knew when Lurox was on his way. Abbedagge is just going to dodge away here with the shifting stands, and now Mad, very strong KARTHUS, are going to look to try and fight around the Rift Tower.
So very quickly, the thing I wanted to point out was that Mad's engaged is not actually the strongest. The best way for them to get a fight is around objectives like this. But top lane is pushed in favor of Schalke. Odoamne can move down first. The TP has come in from Abbedagge, and both teams posture around the Rift Tower.
Shadow down to half HP already. Odoamne trying to come in. Abbedagge is going to come from the bottom side of the fight. Rift Tower down to 3,000. Orome jumps in, but the face breaker doesn't really catch too much. Dream jumping in onto Kaiser as well. Shadow's down low. Has to use the smite really early as Orome gets the burst kill. He's going to fall, but Rift Tower does go across towards Mad. Shadow secures it. Has the flash out of the back of the pit if he needs to. Humanoid being chased away. Shadow will use his flash. And in the end, it's a 1-for-1 trade, and Mad get the Herald. Yeah,
Mad walk away with first blood and the Herald. So it's actually a very favorable trade for Mad. They'll be able to catch the top wave as well. And the fact they were able to walk away with that objective, they only lost one member. Props to Orome. It really felt like he just gave away his life here to secure this objective for his team, because keep your eyes on Orome in this situation. He actually just walks past Odoamne. He's like, I don't care about you. Interrupts the E from Lurox so that he still keeps the GRAGAS near him, allowing him to ult, and then Dreams flashing away to safety actually only flashes into the fist of Orome, and of course he ends up giving away his life, but his whole game plan was to keep Schalke distracted while Mad finished off the Rift Herald. So it does cost them a couple of summoner spells, but they walk away with a valuable objective, which when playing against an Azir, very important. It allows you to play more aggressively against that tower, secure some of those plates, maybe even secure that objective, which against a champ like Azir can be obnoxious because of his wave flip.
And we can see Mad with a very slight gold lead early on here, only about 200, 300, but usually, as we said earlier, they tend to fall behind. Schalke do the same, both by about the same amount, usually about 1,000 gold behind, also 700 to 1,000 in the early game. But both teams pretty even so far as we see the bot laners up towards the top side. Neither team has completed a first completed item as the AD carries, but they are on their way towards them. You can see Mad trying to use the pressure that they have in the river through Shadow. They still have that Rift Hold if they want to use it, but they're holding on to it for the moment.
So I've been thinking more about it, Medic.
Okay.
And I think this game is getting more interesting the more I think about it, because we talked about how Mad don't actually have the best engage tools, right? The easiest way for them to start a fight is for Orome to find a flank, or for Schalke to start an objective and then counter.
Okay.
Right? So this means that Schalke will often have agency when it comes to starting objectives, because Mad can't just start them for free. Because if they do, it's a lot easier for Schalke to engage than it is for Mad to engage, than for Mad to re-engage on a team that's posturing around them in the objective. Now, in this situation, of course, they know that the bot lane is topside, they know that they have push in mid and they have push in bots. They got a favorable trade, so in this situation, they will be able to get an easy objective. But as the game progresses, I think that Mad will either need to look for these free objectives, or they'll actually need Schalke to start the objectives in order for them to find a fight. They're now actually going to look for a dive.
Odoamne doesn't have ult, doesn't have flash, doesn't really have anywhere to go as he dodges away from the Skittles. Humanoid is on his way down, but Lurox is there for the counter gank. Orome going in, look for the face breaker. The Infernal Chains aren't quite going to pull him back. He was able to just get out of the side of it, but he's knocked back underneath the turret. Now he's taking aggro, and with the Haymaker already used, he can't get the shield. Good counter gank there from Schalke in the bottom lane.
Yeah, great stuff from Lurox. I feel like that the dive from Mad was just overforced. They wanted to try and get a little bit more gold on the map. Maybe they could have even secured the bot tower. But Lurox, last I saw him, he was top, realized that there wasn't a play available. After seeing the Drake fall, he was like, wait a minute, they could look for a dive onto bot side. The communication was clearly here from Schalke, and that means that they were able to respond in time. they noticed that Mad were waiting for Humanoid to arrive, but even if he did arrive, there was no minion wave for them to really set up a dive with. They were trying to take advantage of the fact that Abbedagge had gone back to base, but too little, too late. Great counter gank from Lurox. No flash available from Orome after the earlier Rift Herald fight. And now Schalke find themselves with a slight early gold lead.
Plate did go down in the mid lane. No one there to collect it, so that's a little bit of gold just gone to dust. However, getting through these towers is very important, opens up the map a lot, and with an AZIR on your side, it gives you even more pressure than it usually would, because you can put down a tower where the enemy tier 1 used to stand and keep that wave just pushing up and pushing up. Rift Herald is used here in the top lane. Looks like only Odoamne is on this side of the map, as Innaxe and Dreams have switched down towards the bottom. They're going to try and match the pressure that is being put on here, but with the Rift Herald coming in, you have to expect that to take the turret first. Odoamne secures himself a gromp, and the Rift Herald charges in. There will be a lot of extra armor and magic resist here on this turret, but with Carzzy there, with the Rift Herald there, should be a pretty easy take.
Yeah, largely because it's dictated by how many people are there, and of course because Carzzy's by himself. Abbedagge now getting very low. KARTHUS ulti doesn't even need it.
Easy enough stuff there. Good kill from Mad. Shadow.
Yeah, but what was Abbedagge doing?
I don't know.
We're obviously going to get a replay to see exactly how that one broke down, but I am surprised AZIR just shouldn't die.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, like, don't get me wrong, Corki can do a lot of damage, but that surprised me. That's definitely surprising. Well, we'll have to wait for the replay. In the meantime, Schalke just trying to catch these waves now because they're a number down. This will give the opportunity for Orome to push in bot. Let's have a look-see. So Abbedagge already taken a bit of poke. Humanoid just goes for an all-in.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So the problem for Abbedagge is I actually think that he used the stacks on his W to try and fast clear the wave, which means he then doesn't have a WE to get out. But Abbedagge still holds on to his flash, and I think he had ultimate as well, which means that the moment that the Corki jumped in, he could have just ulted away. He then could have flashed away, but clearly not respecting the damage coming out from Humanoid, and yeah, ends up dying.
And he does. First Requiem didn't really find much, but wasn't even needed. There's a 20 CS lead, 15 CS lead for Shadow in the jungle. Otherwise, on as even. Orome is about 10 farm ahead. He's going towards the Trinity Force after getting himself a Bramble Vest first. And you can see Innaxe now with the Essence Reaver will start doing quite a bit of damage on this APHELIOS. Scales very well as the game goes on. The Infernum, the Flamethrower, just rattling through the waves. But Mad have got past the 15-minute mark with a gold lead here, Vedius. And they are looking for their second Rift Herald of the game.
I guess right now, Schalke don't feel strong enough to try and contest these objectives. They had their bot lane in the mid lane. They also had TP available on Abbedagge. They were in a position where they could have answered, but clearly suggesting, okay, right now, we don't feel that strong. But the game is only going to get harder. You've got to remember that KARTHUS in the later stages, very obnoxious.
They're TPing behind them. Abbedagge is going to run straight into the face of Humanoid, and now he might have to flash. Puts down the Emperor to survive. The blast cone keeps Humanoid in place, but the final auto attack's not quite enough. Lurox has to flash the wall as well as Dreams goes in with the dredge line. Not sure he wanted that bite. Moonlight Vigil comes out from Innaxe. There's the route, the stopwatch used by Dreams. Good knockback by Lurox as he tries to get out of the back of the pit. And Schalke are able to escort Abbedagge out alive.
I am surprised that Schalke were able to disengage from that situation, but they managed to pull it off.
You said it, Mad don't have the engage tools. They couldn't follow up the chase.
For sure, but that looked more like a collapse rather than engage initially, and the fact that they were able to barely get away was impressive stuff from the Schalke squad. Man now investing a lot of flashes. That Shadow flash gone, Carzzy flash gone, and Kaiser flash as well. So a lot of summoner spells used on the side of Mad. Same can be said for Schalke, but it will give Odoamne the opportunity to get some gold into his back pocket. He was just free farming in the top lane. Of course, multiple members of Mad on the bot side of the map, but Mad gonna trade this for an Ocean Drake.
It feels at some point Schalke do need to take the imperative when it comes to these objectives, because you said it early on, Mad don't really have as many engage tools as they'd like, so sometimes they're going to wait for Schalke to start up an objective and then collapse on them, try and find the fight there. But Schalke haven't really started any objectives. They let Mad get the second Rift Herald, they just let Mad get another Dragon, and although the gold is pretty even, those extra objectives are going to start stacking up for Mad Lions.
I mean, they're probably not too afraid right now. They also recognize that they scale well themselves, and we talked about it, right? Like, in terms of scaling, the thing that's going to be harder is this Aatrox value. I think the Aatrox will get harder to play into the later stages of the game. However, I kind of took a lot of inspiration for what Grabs was saying on PGL. Aatrox can be used in a variety of different ways because of his wave clear, it's actually very easy for him to get priority on a side lane, which means he can then flank and collapse. Now, when you have a flashless MF, that's like the prime target for a flanking Odoamne. He does have the teleport, so if Schalke can either get deep vision or Odoamne can use his wave clear and prio to be able to move before Orome can, then it's much easier for him to get onto the back line than, say, Orome. So it's funny because you have both top laners kind of looking for this flank to try and dive onto the enemy carries and shut them down as quickly as possible. Of course, the hardest part about the late game fights is if you kill Shadow, his ultimate is going to come through and it's going to devastate the team fight. Now, right now, it's not that scary. Yeah. Only a jungle item and an Oblivion Wall. That for sure, Shadow is not weak, but he's not at the point at which his ultimate will just single-handedly win your team fight. However, when he hits level 11, once he'll either go for a Leandries next, or he'll go for a Death Cap, depending on how much gold he's sitting on and what he wants to prioritize. But yeah, I feel like that this Karthus is going to be a big factor when it comes to these late game fights, and how will Schalke look to play around that? It's going to be one of the big question marks.
Mad Lions use the Rift Herald in the mid lane. They will break the tier 1 of Schalke. 3 turrets to 2 now for them. I did enjoy watching the vision game play out down towards the bottom side as both Schalke and Mad Lions sort of vied for priority on getting vision in the Schalke jungle. In the end, Mad Lions won. They spotted Lurox on a ward and immediately used the Rift Herald in the mid lane to try and get it to charge through that turret. It's always a fun little game to play and to watch when teams of this caliber start to like play around vision and you spot how many control wards does a team have, how much vision can they put down, and how much can they sweep out in a short amount of time.
Baron is now going to be available, so the vision game will largely be invested around that area of the map. In terms of speed, I would say that both teams actually have quite a fast Baron clear. Karthus, you talked about how the single target damage is great for jungle clear. It's even better for things like Drake and Baron. When you have a Corki as well, his single target damage onto objectives like the Baron, very good. But AZIR, 3 soldiers, huge amount of attack speed. APHELIOS, if he's able to stack up chakrams, whew, he just melts that purple worm. So both teams have pretty fast Baron, which is why vision control is so important. Both right now contesting over the blue buff.
Odoamne does find Kaiser by himself. We'll pull him back with the Inferno Chains, looking for the knockup. Blue went to Abbedagge. Carzzy popping the bullet time down, doesn't really get as much as you'd want. He forces Odoamne out of the fight, he forces Dreams out of the fight, but Schalke got the blue buff, and so Mad Lions will just back away. Lurox looking for the Gromp as well as Shadow comes in across the wall. And the Gromp will be smited in the end. Mad Lions have to back away from their gentle foray into the Schalke jungle, and didn't really find anything.
I suddenly got reminded of a Road to El Dorado quote, which is, "Smite me, oh mighty smiter." Did you ever see the Road to El Dorado?
Yes.
It's one of my favorite movies.
See, I think, you know, you have smite, you have smoked. Why not both?
Yeah, but "Smite me, oh mighty smiter" is just one of my favorite lines in the movie, and you reminded me of that, so thank you. Now
Why not both is also a Road to El Dorado quote.
Wait, oh, it is!
That's what I was going for there.
Oh.
I've had 2 really good jokes today, and
I didn't appreciate
you just messed up on them.
Yeah, but the first one I heard and I refused to acknowledge.
Okay, so...
Alright, well, yeah, so we went off on a bit of a tangent. No, because, I mean, like, we're in the mid-game, the game is slow, both these teams are waiting for their item spikes. I kind of want to have a quick look at their gold to see how much they're sitting on, because... let's have a look-see. So, Carzzy probably has some to spend, the Karthus has some to spend as well, but... The problem is for both teams right now is they don't have enough to be able to finish a lot of their core itemization, so they're both kind of chilling, they're waiting back. They're relying on the items to come through very soon, and so there's just a lot of farming going on. Schalke have priority around the Drake for now, and they also have a lot more vision control. There's this one ward just below Odoamne that our observers highlighted when we toggled the vision, and this could be used as a flank, but instead, Mad saying, you know what, we'll just trade it for pressure in the top lane, and that's looking very good for them, as I think that tower is about to be taken.
It is. Humanoid's going to get it pretty easily by himself. Do want to remind everyone of exactly where these 2 teams stand. Of course, Schalke sitting at 2-10. If they lose 2 games, they're out of playoff contention, but Mad Lions still very much in that playoff race. Currently, sole 6th position, because of course Rogue played earlier today. If they win, they match Rogue. If they lose, it becomes a lot closer in that battle with XL. Only having a 1-win cushion is very difficult. And as we said earlier, the rest of the games that Mad have are not the easiest in the world. You're playing Fnatic and Origin in the final week.
For sure. They, Mad were able to get a big win against Fnatic and I think G2.
They did,
right?
yeah.
Both are very valuable in keeping them towards the top end of the standings. And I mean, we've definitely had quite a lot of debate around who's stronger, Mad or XL. But of course, because of those wins, that's why Mad is sitting above XL. But XL actually hold the head-to-head record over Mad, sitting with a 2-0 record over them. So those two teams are definitely very close in the standings right now. But XL have to play through G2 Schalke and, sorry, G2 Origin and Fnatic.
And Misfits.
And Misfits. So like their path is definitely harder than Mad's is. And but that's why these wins are very important for Mad, because if you know your opponent and the person who's competing against you has a very difficult schedule, you then can't afford to drop games against teams that you should be stronger than.
Yeah.
And that's what's so scary about Schalke. They're great at, as we said, making your life difficult. And they definitely don't go down without a fight. And of course, they still have an opportunity to make it to playoffs. They have to win pretty much all of their games.
All but one, I believe, is there.
So, yeah, it's definitely an uphill battle, but we'll see if they can do it. We've seen miracles happen in the European scene before.
We have. Schalke, this would, I mean, it would be a huge miracle for them. Lost the first 7 games they played. To come back from that would be something truly special. But for now, they will be focusing on this specific game. As you said, the Baron is live. Last week, Schalke were able to get a Soul, a Baron, and an Elder and still lose the game against Origin. I'm sure they'll be hoping, obviously, that doesn't happen today. And we are starting to see those second items come out. So both AD carries now in a very strong point. You've got the Infinity Edge, Essence Reaver finished on Carzzy, the Essence Reaver and the Runans, and it appears the beginnings of an Infinity Edge for Innaxe. Slightly ahead, just, you know, the Cloak of Agility versus the BF Sword. But it's still going to be a very close battle when these two teams do butt heads.
I just find it funny because, I mean, we have talked about it, but I want to remind people, Mad's Engage, not the strongest. Yeah. But Schalke are probably also a little afraid to just force fights because they recognize how strong a KARTHUS is and will be later on into the game. So I'm really curious as to how like conflict will be resolved, because when Mad is like, we want to fight, Schalke's going to be like, you know what? No, we're good. We're good. So, yeah, we just kind of have a stalemate right now as both teams just kind of look at each other. But Humanoid, the playmaker.
Behind enemy lines.
Odoamne and Dreams.
Yep.
They're pinging. They know. They definitely know.
Nothing happened.
Cool. It's fine, though. Odoamne just going to face check that. He will now have information on Humanoid as the bot side map is cleared from Vods.
There's a huge amount of vindication as a player there, though, when you're like, I think someone's in this bush, and you play defensively, and then you see them walk over a control ward a little while later. It's like, yeah, game sense A+.
My Spidey senses were, in fact, successfully tingling, yes.
That was one of my favorite parts of the most recent Spider-Man movie. Where it's like, oh, it's your Peter Tingle, your Spider Tingle.
The Peter Tingle, really fun. Can we not call it that?
No, it's your Tingle. It's your special Tingle.
It's great. Huh.
Yeah. Anyway, so now...
I have a Vedi Tingle for when Medi is nearby.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's used as a deterrent, so I can escape.
Cool. I know why you left the house now.
Yeah. Oh, the crowd awed you! They awed you!
Okay, but yes, things are happening. Baron has been started by Mad. They're trying to pull Schalke into a fight. They're the ones engaging here. Looks like they're going to disengage from it.
I think they wanted to sneak that rather than actually go for the fight, given as to how quickly they disengaged. Notice how they kept Humanoid in the bot lane as well. So Mad are utilizing their 4-1 right now. We talked about how they do have split push options. You can keep this Corki in a side lane, and it's going to be difficult for Odoamne to be able to deal with.
They can do it again.
They're back on it. Here we go.
If at first you don't succeed, Mad Lions have started it up again. Lurox and Innaxe, the ones to check. Dreams on his way as well. Here they go. 7,000 HP left on the Baron. Mad starts to disengage. Orome down to half HP just from tanking this up. They don't know where Humanoid is. Schalke did not know where Humanoid was, but Mad Lions disengage and stop anything happening.
So what were the results of that? Orome stayed with his team, which means that he's not getting more farm, whereas Odoamne matched Humanoid, and now he's sitting at level 16. They're also able to confirm a mid-tier 1, and Orome, while looking for a TP flank, will get spotted out as Schalke goes straight for the Ocean Drake. So this all benefited Schalke because Abbedagge is still level 16. Schalke are going to walk away with an objective advantage, experience advantage, gold advantage. Innaxe level 14 as well. Like, Mad feel pressured into starting this Baron, and I kind of just want to backtrack again to what we've been talking so much about in this game. Mad have limited options. Ooh, Abbedagge not quite able to land that ultimate. Humanoid just going to be able to jump away.
Humanoid still down to half HP. Odoamne steps forward. There's the bullet time. Abbedagge just about surviving. Is the Requiem enough? Dodges away from the showstopper, but now Lurox is going to pay with his life. Haymaker finds him. A punch to the back is enough. And Mad Lions now have the option to turn to Baron.
And this was a crucial mistake from Abbedagge. He thought that he could find a pick onto Humanoid, but then after failing, he overcommits to the play, baiting his teammates into trying to force a fight, which then allows Mad to turn it around, find a pick, and now they can start off the Baron without Schalke having their jungler available.
Schalke might want to take this fight though. What have they got? Odoamne doesn't have ult. Innaxe has his. Dreams has his. Humanoid up towards the side, sitting on the package, looking to get in. You gotta get in, you gotta get in, you gotta go. Schalke pull the trigger on the engage. There's the Moonlight Vigil onto Shadow. He's down to half already. And there goes Odo on the front line. The Infernum's gonna rip through Mad. Only Innaxe can get the damage down, but he doesn't have enough. Shadow surviving Mad. Just about alive on the backline as Humanoid jumps forward. Locked up. Orome though with a great face breaker into Haymaker, keeps himself alive. Abbedagge goes in. This could be it. This could be the penta. It's not. Mad Lion's able to lock him down and take him out. A great fight for Mad.
So many low health members in the back of the pit, but Schalke cannot clean it up. Mad walk away with the Baron, and now this opens up so many options for them. We can see here, Humanoid, this is very greedy from him. Trying to steal away the Raptors without pressure anywhere else, but he's just barely able to sidestep it. Here, the overcommitment from Abbedagge, he's thinking that Odo and Lurox can help support the collapse, but they don't actually have prio on mid. That means that Kaiser and Orome are able to get the collapse first, and of course with the KARTHUS ultimate, it doesn't matter if he's there or not, he's always going to offer value with his ultimate, and with the jungler dropping, that's it, he's gone, numbers advantage. Mad then used that very quick Baron to be able to melt this one down. You can see Innaxe flashing in, getting the damage down, and now we need to see Abbedagge just going in, go for the Hail Mary, see if he can win this fight. He actually gives time for Orome to come out, assist Humanoid rather with the kill, and then misses Kaiser with the ultimate. Carzzy ends up not dropping as well. Abbedagge wasn't able to make the play happen, and Mad walk away with the Baron, and now so much more control over the game.
Humanoid doing such a good job of just being a distraction, being a deterrent towards Schalke in that last fight. And as you say, Mad, total control of this game now, 6,000 gold ahead. 2 minutes on the Dragon, it would be soul for Schalke. But Mad aren't really going to let them have any of the map until this Baron buff falls off. A minute left on it, 4,000 gold already gained. Shadow down towards the bottom lane with Orome. Mad might just path over there, looking to break all of the tier 2 turrets of Schalke. Open up that map just that little bit more. Schalke, do you find an engage? Dream still has ult, so does Innaxe, but there's no flashes on Schalke at all. Whereas Mad have Shadow and Humanoid who can get out of a fight at a moment's notice.
They need to keep that pressure up in the mid lane. They do have that wave, which Innaxe is now catching. With numbers advantage, they can force onto this tier 2, but they don't want to overcommit. They've taken 2 towers. Oh, Humanoid choosing not to reset. Can he use some of his poke still? Does, of course, still have the teleport.
They've got 30 seconds left on the Baron buff. They're just trying to milk it for all it's worth.
Yeah, but there's no wave in mid, so they can't really commit to this because Schalke can now keep all 5 members in the bot lane to hold the line. So, Mad, make the wise decision. They disengage. They're happy, though. 7k gold lead now. More money in the bank to just spend, which yet they're going to turn into some pretty powerful items. Not to say that Innaxe is not strong himself, but of course, you just look at the difference between the mid laners. Fully completed Infinity Edge, a 2k gold advantage in favor of Humanoid. The top lane has now equalized out as well, and the KARTHUS really is online. He's about to hit level 16, the Leandries is finished. KARTHUS is going to be looking for some lives to claim.
So Abbedagge is just about to tip over to 1,100 gold, which means he's going to have that finished death cap for the next fight if he goes back and spends it. He'll want that, because you're fighting over the Ocean Soul.
Exactly. Schalke have 2 options now. They can reset and then look to contest, or they can look to trade. Yeah. They have to acknowledge that, of course, this isn't the Ocean Soul, so they're fine losing another Ocean Drake. But it's one of those things where I'm like, can you really afford to wait any longer? Like, if you base now, you can have the death cap on Abbedagge, you have 3 items on your top lane, you have 3 items on your AD carry. Maybe now's your best opportunity to actually go for a fight.
Abbedagge does still have the TP if he wants to come in. Humanoid has come back to try and defend.
This. Like,
yeah, you can't now.
You just look at the vision. There's too much, like, there's so much control in favor of Mad right now that Schalke would be walking in blind, and they can't afford to risk it. So they're going to trade it for the top tier 2. Not the end of the world, still another Ocean Drake to play for, but of course it's going to be the Baron. That's going to be the next point of contention. And with the death cap being completed, of course, Abbedagge has another opportunity to redeem himself for what has been quite a few mistakes in this game. And he's really the late game insurance now, unless Innaxe can also find another stellar performance. Of course, his damage was pretty significant in that last team fight, but the moment he flashed in, he also made himself vulnerable to enemy attack, which Mad were very quick to take advantage of.
See, he's got that Hex Drinker now just to try and add a little bit of mitigation from the Requiem, from Humanoid's damage as well, but it's so hard to do. It's so difficult to stop a Karthus Requiem just wrecking you as an AD carry. And you said it earlier, Vedius, Schalke are just, they're exasperating to play against sometimes because they are good at just making you work for every second of the game. And they've done that again here. They made a couple of mistakes, but even after that, they haven't just turtled and died. They have pressure in the side lanes. They're getting turrets. They're getting a little bit of gold where they can. And that gold lead, it did balloon up to about 8,000 at one point. Now it's down to about 6. They're going to keep pressuring in. It's only Orome here to defend, but they decide they don't want to go for it.
So I think Schalke's strat now is to actually not try and fight and to instead go for almost a G2 approach where they go for a split push style.
Yeah.
They have double teleport, Odoamne and Abbedagge, and maybe their logic is, okay, let's not fight them because in reality they actually can't force on us. So let's instead just try and play more towards the side lane. Maybe we can find a pick. Maybe we can punish Mad for overextending, but Mad's not biting. They're not taking the bait. This is going to give them full control over this objective. The observers just highlighted for us the amount of vision control that Mad do have over the entrances to the jungle, and you can see it on your screen right now. And the river is also entirely clear of vision from Schalke, so this area is dark. Thank you once again, observers, for helping us highlight this. They're going to push in mid, make their way back towards the Baron, and they're going to look to rush this down. KARTHUS is level 16, Lurox is level 13, so the smite damage alone is going to be dramatically different. Here we go. This is going to be it. What will Schalke do? Will they look for the split push? Will they look for the team fight?
Abbedagge's just been oscillating back and forth in this top lane. Shadow actually down to about a third HP here, but the Baron already down to 4,000. Here comes the teleport as Schalke look for it. Lurox gets a control ward in the back of the pit, and Mad have to disengage.
But Mad get the TP out from Abbedagge, which is still a big win. Now they look for the re-engage.
Oh, Lurox takes half his health from a single auto attack from Humanoid. Humanoid takes nothing in return. A Sentinel goes down, but that's not going to be enough. Schalke now do have mid prio. They can push in, but Humanoid is here to stop it with the static shiv. That wave play is even stronger than normal on the Corki.
Level 18 versus level 13. Now 14, but you can see how powerful levels can be on top of the fact that Humanoid is quite fed. Now he has his eyes set on Abbedagge.
Doesn't break the Banshees, which could be important. Mad trying to get that mid prio we always talk about. You can use it to push in towards the side. Odoamne realized that Mad would be coming across here, so got a little bit of damage down onto Kaiser, but not enough.
Now, if we could bring the items back up, we'll notice that a lot of the vision is now disappearing. Control wards don't exist for either party. The supports have run out of stacks as well. Only Kaiser with 1 ward left, which means that this vision fight can't keep going on because the number of resources to wave pit is limited, so a fight's going to start.
Shadow down to half, the root comes out, there's the knockback, but Shadow goes the opposite direction. Orome's trying to jump into the back of the fight as Carzzy steps forward. Orome hooked up, Humanoid fighting against Odoamne up towards the side of this as he's about to fall, but he goes golden just at the right moment, just at the right second, and Lurox goes for the engage. He pops his stopwatch too as Innaxe stepping forward. Carzzy not pulled back by the chains, he's able to survive, but Mad split up. Schalke gonna step back, reset, reassess, and they find a kill in what could be a very important fight. They don't get too much out of it, Vedius, but it shows that Schalke are still here to party.
Yeah, they're still keeping the game surprisingly even, especially when you think about the situation that they find themselves in with Lurox being so underleveled. Let's have a look at this engage. So we talked about how the vision resources were running out, and some good poke damage comes out from Abbedagge onto the KARTHUS, and then a great ultimate from Innaxe actually locks them up, but the response is a little bit slow, which means that they can't immediately go onto Shadow. He's too hesitant to use his ultimate just yet, and to be honest, it probably won't just melt through the Schalke lineup, so he hesitates, he holds on to it. This gives Schalke the opportunity to find that pick and then look for these slow re-engages. They then don't overcommit because they know the Ocean Drake is spawning in a minute's time. But it is Mad who once again have control over the area.
Schalke do have the Scuttle Crab. That will give them pretty effective vision for the moment. They know that Humanoid is there. They know they have a little bit of safety.
Schalke have...
Oh, TP. Here we go, here we go. Mad Lions looking for the TP flank as Orome does have the showstopper, but already the Ocean Drake's gone. They get the soul, it's secured by Mad. Lurox in the pit is melted in a heartbeat, and here comes Orome. Showstopper to all four of them. Kaiser jumps forward with Glacial Fissure. It's all on Innaxe, it's all on Abbedagge. You've got to turn this fight around right now. Otherwise, with the Requiem coming out, you're just going to get taken out. Humanoid dives off towards the side. It's Innaxe and Odoamne who get the kill in a 3v4. Schalke have to do something here because Mad Lions are going to start regenerating very quickly.
Yes, they certainly are, Medic. Mad was so quick to rush that Ocean Drake down that Schalke never had an opportunity to respond. Now with 4 people alive, Orome and Kaiser can tank this one up. They're just going to melt through the Baron, and Mad will put themselves in the favorable position again. But Innaxe is here. He doesn't have the ultimate available, does have flash.
Innaxe has the Cleavum and the Infernum. He could shred through Mad Lions in just a second. And here he goes. Carzzy trying to put the damage down. Carzzy wins that 1v1, but here comes Abbedagge. Now, there's Pincered. They're flanked. Odoamne jumps back into the pit. Orome almost falls, but look at the healing on him. The Ocean Soul does so much. Abbedagge, you shuffled him the wrong way. Carzzy able to survive for the second, but here comes Innaxe. That's one. They're looking for more. Innaxe, are you going to step forward? Because Odoamne is there by himself. Cleavum doesn't hit from long range. Orome still tanking up. Shadow able to get back, and it looks like Schalke won't be able to find anything more out of this. They got 3 kills. They denied 3 Barons, but Mad still get out.
Whew. So a tense team fight around the Baron. Innaxe, Abbedagge, and Odo doing what they can. If they could have killed Mad here, they could have stalled the game out even longer. But Mad still walk away with 2 Baron buffs. The Karthus now has the death cap completed. Very tense game, and we can see how Schalke are making this difficult for Mad. So we have to start back with the Ocean Drake. Orome finds a TP flank, but honestly, this TP gets interrupted because you can see the Luden's Echo proc ends up interrupting his home guard, which means he can't suddenly close the gap. But then he finds Odoamne. He's able to shut him down as the GRAGAS is diving into the pit and has no options. Really good lockup here onto Humanoid. The damage combined from Innaxe and Odoamne is enough to find that kill. They get a huge shutdown. But with Mad having 4 members alive, they rush the Baron down very quickly. Now we see Innaxe just dishing out a lot of damage. Mad is a little indecisive as to who they want to focus, but Carzzy's focus is clear. I need to kill Innaxe. He ends up flashing out, getting away to safety. Carzzy actually comes back into the pit, and you think at this point he's going to die. But Abbedagge wants to try and separate him and Carzzy. But all he actually does is it gives Shadow the opportunity to then find that pick onto him. And then the Ocean Soul regeneration here. Also Innaxe too low to really be able to get involved in the fight.
Orome gained health during that portion of the fight.
Mad was able to disengage, walk away with 2 Barons, and now we'll see if Schalke can hold the line. Very long, drawn-out fight. More items are being completed. Abbedagge, though, hasn't actually picked up anything extra, whereas we're at full build for Humanoid. And you can see Humanoid's not afraid to take these trades because he's like, hey, bro, I have the Ocean Soul. I'm like all that watery goodness. I'm super hydrated.
Hydro homies.
So he's just going to keep on getting the poke. Yeah, no, I get it, I know. It was funny.
Thanks.
I'm focused.
So you might wonder why we talk about how powerful the Ocean Soul is. Carzzy is regenerating 300 health per 4 seconds upon damaging an enemy. It's actually just crazy. It's so much healing. It's so difficult to burst people down.
Where's the Morello? It's not hit. No Executioner's Calling either. No healing reduction right now.
I think building Morello because the enemy might get an Ocean Soul is a little bit...
No, but now you need one.
You definitely do. You definitely do.
The healing is too strong.
Well, we'll see if anyone changes up their build. No grievous wounds on Schalke as of yet.
Baron's gone.
Yeah.
Mad got, what, I think 1 tier 2 in the top lane? If they hadn't already,
no, they already got that before,
so they got nothing. So what we're seeing is Mad's comp kind of struggles to can't actually close the game. So like we're full LCK right now, bro. Like this is prime time LCK in LEC where kind of you have this constant stalemate, and it's just going to be, unless someone gets an ace or like a TP backdoor or like, it's going to be a crazy ending. It's going to be crazy.
You know what I love? Kaiser has adapted his build for the Soul.
Oh,
he has a Warmog's armor on BRAUM. It gives him an extra 99 healing from his total health.
Wait, but he's not at 3k yet.
Yeah, but so it's not about the regeneration, it's about the flat health that you get from it, because Ocean Soul scales with max health.
Of course, okay.
I mean, I'm not sure it's the optimal optimization.
Wait, but also if he buys, what, like a Ruby Crystal, that'll probably put him over the edge as well, right?
Yeah, it would.
Damn, all right.
Big brain plays.
Late game support builds.
Honestly, having 2 items as support is late game support build.
Morello on Abbedagge.
Oh,
now we have the healing reduction. Okay, but Elder Drake in a minute's time. Will this be the deciding factor? I talked about this with Dracos last week. Karthus plus Elder Drake, one of the funniest interactions I think exists in the game. A lot of people think it's annoying. I think it's hilarious.
It's like, here are some lasers and some lasers on your lasers.
Yeah, it's like Dracos described it as, it's like a child's fantasy where like, I want lasers from the sky and I want a dragon to breathe on them. Right? Like, I love the interaction. I think it's super strong. And Shadow is of course super strong himself. Dreams could be in danger.
Okay, Humanoid has the Valkyrie, so can just get away. You can see Mad are pushing into this jungle, denying Vision, getting as much control of it as they can. Thank you, observers, for highlighting that Schalke really see nothing. Odoamne is going to realize there's a control ward in there. Orome is coming in from that bottom lane, trying to get the wave pushed up.
The problem for Schalke is they can't even get mid-prio because Humanoid is holding that. Orome is pushing in bot lane as well, so it's impossible for Matt to even approach, and Shadow can just solo the Drake, to be honest. He does it so quickly on the Karthus, especially at this point in the game. I like that Schalke have invested their 4 into mid lane to try and secure mid-priority, but Mad are contesting them on this objective. Ult goes wide, crucial, because Innaxe had the Graviton, won't have that CC option available, and now Orome, he's the one to move first. Odoamne stuck behind him.
You got to fight
Mad
this.
starting off the Elder. Here we go, this is it.
Elder getting chunked out pretty quickly. Lurox tanks a Winters by Orome, looking for the steal, but Lurox is nowhere near this. That Elder Dragon's almost gone, and Mad will secure it. It's Carzzy who takes it. And now Mad trying to disengage because they know in just a second, in just a moment, they can go back in. The Elder Dragon burst will be absolutely devastating for Schalke. And Mad Lions, they can just wait this one out. They can just wait for a moment, let Orome push in bot, let mid lane wave come back to them. Schalke looking down the barrel of a possible Baron Elder team. It's going to be very difficult for them to fight back.
Yep, the pings are coming through. Schalke definitely don't want to fight Mad now. Ocean Soul combined with Elder Drake. Oh, the TP flank.
Orome with the TP flank once again. Humanoid goes in. He almost dies. He's shut down. Maybe that's what they needed, but Abbedagge is being suppressed. Knocked back with the showstopper. And Orome smites him with the power of the Elder Drake. Innaxe in the middle of the fight is doing so much. He gets the Infernum. Carzzy's down. Carzzy's down. Orome trying to get him with the facebreaker again. But Kaiser, look at the damage. Look at Shadow. He just takes down 2 in a moment. And now Odoamne is running for the hills. Orome and Kaiser can chase him down, but I wonder if Odoamne can disrupt this Baron, because that's what he's got to do.
Oh, Schalke, they had the best case scenario team fight, but the power of the Elder Drake is what swung it back into the favor of Mad. Innaxe just dropped below the threshold, and then he got blown up. If he could have life-stealed, if he could have stayed in the fight a little bit longer, then Schalke could have actually won that fight and secured the Baron, but you're seeing the power of this late game objective. Mad will use their Elder to secure themselves the Baron, will maintain control over the game, but such a promising team fight for Schalke. The fact that they were able to just blow up Humanoid and Carzzy right off the get-go was so valuable to them, but then of course the follow-up damage dealer of Shadow is what kept Mad in the fight. So let's have a look at this again. You can see that they break the shield from Abbedagge, and Humanoid, oh, and the TP flank is coming in from Orome. So this is where Mad feel the confidence to engage. So Humanoid uses his W, gets hit double crit by Innaxe. Then they're trying to interrupt on Abbedagge. He's able to get his ult off though, and look, Carzzy's just been abandoned. His support is not there peeling for him, and Shadow can only do so much. But this is where Shadow comes in extremely valuable. Look at Innaxe, just drops below the threshold, blown up. Jungler, blown up. Mid laner was killed just as this second half of the fight was ensuing.
Look at that damage from Innaxe.
Yeah, I mean, Innaxe
it's a battle between Innaxe and Shadow. That's all it is, these fights.
He's becoming so crucial in these fights, and oh man, you can see how tense the game still is. Mad now, still yet to break into the base of Schalke. We're approaching 50 minutes. Medic, I'm sure we're getting close to the longest game of the split.
I'm sure we are, Vedius. I'm sure we are. If you could just keep talking for like...
In 3 minutes,
yeah,
this will in fact be the longest game of the split.
Interesting. I could have found that out. Yeah, in 3 minutes, Vedi.
But I find it funny.
50-49.
We talked about how this was going to be an interesting game. We said it was going to be closer than people perhaps expected. And a lot of it came down to this comp where I was fascinated as to how these fights were going to play out, and we've seen how close they have been between the two teams.
Carzzy's got double infin on the MF now. Full 6-item build for Innaxe. Went for the Trinity Force as his final item. Goes in with the Moonlight Vigil. The Infernum really doesn't do too much. Didn't hit Shadow. That's the target you're looking for at the start of these fights. Humanoid pushing in mid lane. Abbedagge is about to go back to base. I wonder what he's going to buy. Has a blasting wand. Maybe looking for a void staff because there's a bit of magic resist on the Mad Lions squad. We'll see. Kaiser pulled back with the chains. It's going to be pulled back with the chains. Is this it? Is the connection they found? The Death Charge comes out and one pick is all that Schalke wanted out of that. The support is dead and still Mad Lions have not been able to break the base of Schalke.
Wow. Schalke is still holding the line, and now the audience is coming alive for Schalke. Oh man, this team is able to make the game so much harder for their opposition, and they introduced Innaxe, they introduced Lurox to the roster, and ever since then, we've been talking about how Schalke just seem to have slowly gotten better, but their mid to late game decisions just seem to be so much on point, and like they punish the mistakes that you make. Such a small overstep from Kaiser, but immediately they're quick to catch you out on it. And now they keep the game even once again. We're waiting for another Elder, we're waiting for another Baron. Elder doesn't stack like it used to, Medic. This Elder's going to be just as strong. Obviously, it's still very powerful.
Incredibly powerful.
But it gives Schalke another opportunity.
And you can see Schalke are now the team pushing forward. Schalke are now the team getting offensive vision into the base of Mad, into the face of Mad. And the Mad Lions, they were looking at a game that they should win. They were favorites coming into the game. They are the team much higher up in the standings. And when you're in that playoff race, when you're looking for 6th spot, 5th spot, these are the games that really matter. These are the games that can really swing things. If Schalke take a win here, they will be, well, denying perhaps Mad the chance to go to playoffs. Elder Dragon, 46 seconds away, a 10,000 gold lead, but really that doesn't mean too much right now. Carzzy has the shield from the Bloodthirster, can put a lot of damage down, as can Shadow.
So let's have a quick look at the map state right now, because you'll notice the bot is being pushed in favor of Schalke. Mid being pushed in favor of Schalke. The Sun Disc also going to guarantee that priority. If we could just have a very quick look at top lane, we can tell which direction it's going in. I think it's slow pushing in favor of Mad right now. But Mad are going to use their 5 members to be able to push in mid. Abbedagge and the squad, though, still holding on to this mid lane. Good poke onto Kaiser. Will regenerate, of course. But that bot wave still pushing underneath the tower. Elder Drake spawning in 5 seconds. This is a great situation for Schalke right now.
Kaiser over the Warmog's proc level, though, so he's going to regenerate even quicker, even with the Elder Drake. Humanoid gets pulled back. Death Charge comes out, only hits onto Humanoid. There's the showstopper from Orome as the fight really begins. Innaxe in the middle of the bullet time, and already Dreams is done. And now Schalke have to fight a 4v5. Carzzy down to half HP, but can Schalke do it? Can they find the fight? Because Mad now have mid-prio. Shadow down to half. Kaiser stepping forward. Odoamne is going to jump across the wall. He's caught out as well. The knockback comes up. Innaxe has started up the Elder Dragon. It looks like Schalke might give up their inhibitor and their inhibitor tower to get this dragon, but Kaiser, he's going to act as a disruptor. There we go.
They're going to try and interrupt the bases. They're going for the base race.
They're going for the base race, Vedius. Can
this is
they
quick.
do it? Mad so quick on it. They're pulling the trigger. Innaxe trying to get back. Kaiser's trying to do what he can. Abbedagge and Odoamne already back. Already the first Nexus tower's down. And now Mad, they're on the Nexus. Oh, Schalke, not again. It can't happen to them again. Mad Lions walk straight through the front door and take the win over Schalke.
Wow, Mad have to rush down mid lane in order to end it. What an incredibly tense game all the way to the end. Schalke chose to go for an engage rather than just focusing on rushing down the Elder. It made sense, it's understandable, because Mad were face-checking into darkness.
Yeah.
The problem is, such a good combo came out from Mad that they were able to kill Dreams after a great bullet time coming out from Carzzy, and because Mad had mid-prio, that then allowed them to just move into mid lane. There wasn't anyone in position to wave clear, and keeping Kaiser to interrupt the backs was so crucial as well.
Just flashbacks to the Origin game last week. Of course, that was more of a conventional backdoor, where this was more of a smash the front door in and walk straight through from Mad Lions. Of course, commiserations to Schalke. They still sit with only 2 wins, where Mad Lions now match Rogue in tied 5th spot. Still 1 win behind, tied with Misfits actually as well. 1 win behind the leading